And they still got the free roller griller item with purchase of a 2 Coca-Cola or Fanta bottles, 20 ounce, any flavor. Did you get your free roller item?
Yes.
Didn't move at all. Just laying on the couch. Look at that lazy kitty. Linda's making her pros and cons on several different restaurants. Covering up some of it right here. All right, where's Kitty? Here's Kitty. This is the guy that goes for 5 hours straight on Blood Meridian. Windagoon, I believe is his name.
How many hours?
She's going over pros and cons. I found this right here. Linda found it. It's the Fort Worth Art Dealers Association. Linda found it. Where'd you find this, in a McDonald's? Shows Eamon Carter, which we've done vlogs of Eamon Carter, and Arts on the Boulevard, which I'm not real familiar with that one. There's also Arts of Fort Worth, Art Space. There's Atrium Gallery at H.S.C. There's B Street Gallery. I haven't heard of that one. A lot of art in Fort Worth. There's a Fort Worth Fort Works art, and then Gallery 440. There's the gallery at UTA, and the Kimball Art Museum. That's a really cool one. A lot of classic stuff. Then you have this right here, which is McAnthony's Multicultural Studio Art Gallery, Modern Art Museum of Fort Worth. That looks cool. Rebecca Little Sculpture Gallery, and Sid Richardson Museum. We've got Seneca Studios, TCC, the art galleries at TCU, the art galleries at TCU again. This shows a lot of art stuff. We could probably do we could do a big art show on our channel if we wanted to. Then we've got the upstairs gallery right here, the Weiler House Fine Art Gallery. There's the William Campbell Gallery. The William Campbell Gallery. I wonder, where are these right here on Fox Street? That sounds familiar, on Fox Street. There's one of them where you can play music at. I think it's listed in some of these. William Campbell Gallery. There's the Carrie O'Keefe Fort Worth Botanic Gardens. The House of Novell Gallery and Gatherings. That looks cool. Then there's J. Feeler Howell Fine Art and Park and 8th. Point of View. It's also a Fort Worth gallery. And Spider Lily Studio. And the pool near Southside Art Space. And the Schaefer Collection. I guess if you're an artist, you're probably eating healthy in Fort Worth. My goodness, didn't know there's this much art. There's also Sundance Square Gallery Night Hours. Cool. And then there's the Women's Club of Fort Worth. So I just thought this was interesting. Linda found it. It's the Fort Worth Art Dealers Association. Cool. Right, so Universal Studios is opening up in Frisco, Texas. Oh, cool.
I thought I sent it to you.
That we're going to definitely go to vlog, if we can afford it.
I think it says 2026. It's breaking ground.
So it's breaking ground right now. Universal Studios opening in Frisco, Texas. Awesome. Cool.
I didn't send
Cool.
it to you?
Yeah. Universal Studios worth it. Right. So we reached 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're dealing with 190,900 dogs and old tricks. All right, well, so not everyone plays the same game, but we all kind of have to go after certain things. Now, really, we should just have the Lord on our minds all the time, and that's what we do, or we try to in our hearts, but in reality, there's usually 3 things that are on the board. I learned this from doing Commedia dell'arte. So pretty much everyone's after this. It's going to be food, loving, and money. Yeah, the food and the romance and the money. That's pretty much what we do as people, and it's tied in everything, entertainment and everything, and then God oversees everything because we want to have God on our heart and work for Him, not mostly. But those are the things at play. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying, but because we have needs and things like that. So anyway, so I moved on. I sent my letter, no response from my manager or anything. But I just couldn't risk it. So probably most likely to be doing a cleaning tomorrow, and then we're gonna head out to the airport and work a shift, and we get to see parts of DFW International, so that's gonna be cool too. All right, welcome to the Please Subscribe show. This is probably the second part of the show right now, maybe the third part, I don't know. I'll have to see how it goes up in segments. So the airport is always kind of an adventure. You know, it's a lot of fun, a lot of moving around, a lot of gyrating turns because of how DFW is built. So there's a lot of circle turns, and it's all kind of put in there in an economic way. It's a lot of moving around, going different levels sometimes, and different terminals. They got the monorail looking system known as the Skylink is what they call it, and it's about the size of a zip code, so it's about the size of a city. So Universal is coming to Texas, Universal theme park. That's going to be Universal Studios theme park. There's one in Florida and there's one in California. And they're bringing it to Frisco, so that means there's a real good chance somewhere down the line, I'm not making any promises, but it may come true, we might have a third Disneyland or Disney World. I don't know what it'll be called. Coming to Texas, maybe. All right, go. Guy going dove hunting somewhere in Texas. Flew in from Boston, making sure whole, suitcase of money's not left back there like in Dumb and Dumber. Anyway, if you ever seen Dumb and Dumber, you'd understand what I'm talking about. This is the sun up at Kurum, whatever that means. I guess it's its representation of some kind of art thing. Alright. It's like a business district. Business district area. But not too far from this is the Improv. There's a good one. You want to go and mess up what you're saying in front of a microphone in front of the audience. They just laugh at you. Eventually, you get it right, over time. All right, just in case you were wondering, eggs, the perfect food, and that's an egg daddy having an egg sandwich near his egg spaceship on television. That's what it is. An egg daddy. All right. Was filmed from this tollway. It's also another theory, which is probably maybe the theory because it's harder, and if it was up there he would have been able to probably zone that over there. We'll look at it from this angle. Alright, so on the west side of 635, or some side of it, and it might be that it might have been filmed out in that direction, right over this way. You know what? I think it was. So it was filmed from this particular tollway, which is a Dallas tollway, Dallas North tollway. Maybe in that direction. I'll have to look and see which side it was on. I think it was. It was from the North Tollway. So that's the building for office space. That's what we're looking at. There is a commercial airliner really see it, kinda. Let's see if we can focus on that. Yeah. Gotta get those windows really clean where that shot just turns right to blur. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Looks like a UFO. UFO flying over, blurry UFO. And that's actually an airplane. Let's see if we can get it right here. There it is. And I know what you're saying, you know, it's stupid. Right, it's stupid right now, but later on, it's gonna be really cool. That's what I say. When you go and watch these vlogs, years later, it's gonna be really precious, cool thing, or worth a lot. Promise you. Perhaps maybe Critter will be in the museum. Right, Critter? All right, all right. Don't take up all the attention. So I could imagine doing this with like a Canon or a Nikon or something like that. But, you know, I mean, you do what you do. You have to do, you know. At that point, you're probably just vlogging, you know, theme parks and haunted houses and abandoned places and maybe like some cool restaurants. This way and that way. Well, that was a real sweet lady that was kind of trying to get to Lawton, Oklahoma, which would have been a 150-mile trip or something. I don't even know how far it was. I think it was a lot farther than that. But got too much to do for tomorrow, and so I was thinking about that the other day. But she might have a better deal with Southwest. So this is Love Field, where sometimes you can get to Oklahoma from here for like $70 or something. It's pretty cheap. All right, so here's the thing. So someone wanted me to go 190 miles and they were gonna pay $200. That doesn't work. Try $400. someone that wants to go that far with that amount that's 200 doesn't cover it. Now airline might get you there for 200, but when you go to those levels, the price goes way up. Try 400 minimum, because you're going over the 50-mile radius kind of thing, and the price starts to increase. But man, this looks like bumper to bumper. I might could go down Regal Road because it looks like it's a bad accident. So it's completely cut off right through here. So I don't know. Dallas traffic, let me tell you. Tonight we are going to read a couple of pages of Grace, which is my werewolf movie, also working title Werevlog, for the first pilot or movie or whatever it becomes. Movies now easily can turn into a series, and I know there's a sequel, so I wanted to talk about the sequel. I haven't done this, but if you know the character of Rainy Love, she's the spouse of the mixed martial art fighter Grace, who is kind of the lead. Possibly maybe offered to Bradley Cooper, I don't know. Also, I'm offering the role of Bradley Cooper to Saint Patty the Great too, which is another character. I'm sending this out in October, the pilot episode or the film. I just call it the film, the movie. All right, so we're going to skip to the sequel. So we know that Rainy Love is secretly the werewolf because she's closest to the cat. And the cat, Garlane, that's the name of the cat, Garlane, the cat is the keeper of the curse. And you know that there's some mysterious thing going on in the field, in the ground. Some kind of Egyptian curse, gypsy thing, something weird that was kept underground on this guy's ranch, Grace Lipton's ranch. He didn't know about it until he bought it. It's a mixture of a lot of different other ideas. Okay. So that gets released, the cat gets it, the cat bites. Eventually we find in the sequel that the cat bit Rainy Love, and Rainy Love became a werewolf, and she was actually the werewolf. Now she had been the werewolf for a while, and then that's when she started exploring all this gypsy stuff, and then told Grace Lippin about the tattoo that she wanted him to get. And see, it's kind of a spiritual kind of thing too. It's more about shapeshifter than it is just werewolf. It starts off werewolf, okay? There'll be vampires in the sequel. I'm gonna get the moon real quick, and I'll talk about this in a minute. You can kind of see the moon behind the clouds right there. It's a full moon too. Anyway, you can see it coming out behind the clouds. There it is. You see part of it right there, kind of peeking out there. It's a full moon right there. All right, back to the sequel to Grace, which I've already written the original movie, so okay. All right, so the sequel's cool, okay, because we know that the cat was the keeper of the curse. We know the cat bit Rainy Love. We know Rainy Love, who is a spouse of Grace Lippin, okay. Gerald Ullman III believes that Grace Lippin is the werewolf because he sees them fighting on television. He notices the tattoo. The tattoo is a big important part of the story, which is like a gypsy symbol representing the werewolf, and he knows that probably is the reason why that's the reason why he believes that Grace Lippin is a werewolf. Okay, but Grace Lippin is actually not a werewolf, but they accuse him of being a werewolf. They end up on his porch. That's when one of the Bob Balaban character, the plane, the sheriff who comes in, and they want to talk to him and see what's going on. And there are mutilations that are happening in the town that's been published in the newspaper, even made it to the news, things like that. Okay, long story short, in the end, John Blacksmith, who joins the werewolf hunter, Gerald Ullman III, and they take like a secret kind of Uber all the way from Oregon to, and this stuff happens, okay? It really does. People get desperate and they want to go somewhere. They go from Portland, Oregon, or in that area, to Texas, to a fictional town called Barksville, which I created, okay? It's real big about the sequel. Now remember, Rainey Love, who is obviously the werewolf, okay? I'm just giving it away. I'm giving out some spoilers. She deals in Biljack dog food, okay? That's what she sells. She helps with the ranch. She sells dog food. Well, this curse gets into the dog food. So in the sequel, we learn this later. So the whole freaking town of Barksville, the whole town, this fictional Texas Barksville, okay, right? All of them, pretty much almost the whole town, a whole bunch of them become werewolves, okay? So in the sequel, there's gonna be like, you know, because Gerald Ullman survives, and he trains these people to go out to stop these werewolves, because he knows the whole town, Barksville's infected. So they have like this cells team. It's like a secret cells team. Think of A.D.W.C, okay? That's why I did some research with A.D.W.C. They didn't know that, but think of like A.D.W.C or like security team. So they go in, going door to door, using something that's similar to Cells Rabbit, to investigate and to knock on doors to see if that person's a werewolf. So they have this like way of finding out if they're a werewolf. Now I thought about maybe doing like testing of like their blood, but I thought that would be too, that'd be too crazy. But there'll be something that they can do to alter the moonlight, right? Like on a full moon, they can bounce on them. So when they open the door, hi, we're just checking to see, how's your monitoring system going on, right? And this is like a fake team, right? Well, the light bounces on them, and if they're okay during a full moon, then they would obviously change into a werewolf, because full moon light changes someone into a werewolf. And so I had this scene in my head where they're in the cells room, and the guy's like marking on the board, and he's like, okay, so how many houses did you knock on today? And he's like, okay, 30, okay. All right. And this was like around like, when the sun was going down. Okay, good, okay. And so this one, so they're secretly, even in the cells room, they pretend like they're actually salespeople, but they're actually werewolf hunters. And that's kind of what I'm throwing in for the sequel. There's this whole scene there, and they're talking, and it's like, okay, so when you knock on 30, you got 15, and how many times did you shine the light, the moonlight on them and all that kind of stuff. So they're marking it off, but they're kind of talking in their own jargon to make it sound legit. It's something that I'm going to be writing later on. And the guy that runs the cells team or whatever, he's like the main dude. He's like, he's basically like, he knows Gerald Ullman, but they also probably, maybe one of them have also maybe known John Blacksmith too. And I don't know for sure if John Blacksmith actually really dies. I think he actually becomes a werewolf. And also another thing too, if you'll notice, in the story in the original, which I wanted Jim Carrey to help out with, one of the characters that's in the, it's like a feed store. And that's kind of like a funny scene. That's the one where the guy's the clerk and all that stuff, and he's running around kind of acting weird. They actually will become werewolves as well, because they're dealing with the Biljack dog food the most. But some people are immune to it. So I think one of the clerks are actually immune to it. He actually eats the Biljack dog food because he's kind of a weirdo. I wanted Carrey to look at that role because I think it'd be great for him. This is like a big cast of people playing like werewolves and all this stuff. But there's a comedy aspect to it. Now, I'm throwing out a lot of abstract ideas. I know all of it's not like written and perfect where we can sit there and get legalistic with it and like, okay, who's this guy's name and all this stuff. But some of it's there. It's there with the feed store and stuff. I'm trying to get the script picked up. So right now, the working title is Grace, G-R-A-C-E. And then in parentheses is Werevlog. So it's a working title. It'll be hitting the digital market, flying around to different places. I'm going to do a hard copy of the original, and I'm sending it just as a gift to Grim Life Collective, because I know they're big in the horror market scene, and they've already done a film with Shelley Duvall that was a werewolf film, and she lives in Texas too. But this is more like a series. Werewolves are part of it. I think it's cool to write about a werewolf because it's the oldest story. It goes all the way back to Gilgamesh and A.D.W.C, or whatever his name was, and Gilgamesh. And his wild friend was kind of like a werewolf. And this goes back far older than any other story. So there might be some mentioning of that too, because Grace Lippin, who I may play, I don't know, I'll have to see if I can pull it off, but he does research where he's like researching werewolves and stuff, because when they accuse him of being a werewolf, he starts being like, why would they do that? Why would they accuse, so he starts going and doing his own research on Google and stuff. And Google Home is a big part of it. I just saw a commercial the other day on AdSense with Google Home and A.D.W.C, like connecting together. So I don't know, I just saw the commercial the other day, so I must have knocked that out, because it was my idea to use Google Home far before I got involved with all this A.D.W.C stuff. So yeah, there's some kind of prolific genius thing going on. But anyway, I didn't predict it. I didn't look on Wall Street and figure out why those two are teaming up. But anyway, that's how they spy on Grace Lippin, John Blacksmith, and Gerald Oldman III. You'll figure it out. You have to read the script. Sorry, I'm giving you a lot of information. It's like 7 minutes. Where is the moon? Yeah, it's over on that side over there. Okay, it's like behind a cloud. Some of this sauce right here, but I'm gonna switch over to some, maybe some relish. There's some relish right here. And that one, straight up relish, simple. This one I might try. They used to have Grey Poupon. Oh, they do have it. Okay, cool. Some Grey Poupon. Put that on there. You never want to put that on until last. Do that. That should be fine. Ultimately, when pitching a script, there's no better way to do it than just having the script and reading it, of course. But I think a 5-minute pitch or so is probably a pretty good deal. It's my hot dog. But I'm just gonna do a whole read through of it, starting with a couple pages, and then go from there. What really does help to do that, because you can hear the sound of it. So we did the same thing with Skinny Pete and Friends. Got no attention on that one. So here's my hot dog salute. I got a little bit of Coke Zero, Coca-Cola mixture. All right, we'll get to that script pretty soon here. Yeah, I didn't get a whole turnaround a whole lot on Skinny Pete and Friends, but it's still something I had to do. It was what it is. It's a crossover story between something original and something that's already been done. So, but this is original. It's original werewolf. There's a cat involved, and this is kind of think of a hometown werewolf kind of comedy. And there's a few of them that are floating around, and they've done very well. So we'll have to see. I'm gonna throw it out there. I was taught, I think I got this from Peter Jackson, the filmmaker that did all of the Lord of the Rings. He also did many other things. What was it called? Was it called Bad Brains? That was what he started off with. When he took his film that he made, he would store it in his refrigerator and then cut it later, because he had to wait between developments just to develop the film alone. That is true dedication of a filmmaker, and that's why he ended up
being a part of King Kong and Lord of the Rings, and he did all that stuff, and The Hobbit and things like that. He got some of the best stories. But anyway, Peter Jackson's advice was, why not, and I'm pretty sure it could have been Guillermo. It might have been Guillermo, but I'm going to say, and I'm horrible with pronunciation, especially, Guillermo will have to forgive me. But he did Shape of Water, but I'm talking about Peter Jackson. Either him or the other one that said this. But anyway, somebody said it. And they said, try a horror film or try, a scary film, because it gets the attention of everybody. If you're writing these on Golden Pond dramas, and you're like, why? Well, try something risky. And that's why I went for the Werewolf. Because I was going to do a fighting film. And I thought, there's a lot of good fighting films. And it was a little bit like The Fighter. If you've seen that with Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale. And I started going that route. And he's like, all I'm doing is ripping off The Fighter. Let's turn this all around. And I started hearing these coyotes, like in my side yard, because I lived in these town homes in Carrollton. There's a huge field, and these coyotes would draw out rabbits or domesticated dogs, and they just tear them apart in this field. And it's just a horrible sound, like, just this crazy yapping from these coyotes. And I just pictured Werewolf. So the script, because of what I was hearing, I was sitting there writing it, and I just had finished up a ghost story, which was called The Filmmakers. Got a lot of good attention on the first post. I think like 7,000 on the post. My goodness, what's going on here? Okay. And so that got a lot of attention, and that was supposed to be a comedic ghost story. So that's there too in the pocket. So I put that one in the pocket. That one's written and stored it away. Now this one came from a fighting film, turned into a werewolf film, and I'm holding it with the werewolf film right now, So we'll have everything by October. Doing 2 pages tonight, that's it. And then we're gonna get back, see Kitty and Linda, and I'll do those 2 pages and then head off to bed and start editing.